Greetings, everyone. DFG at Gideon's Flight. Hey, guys. Just want to take a little time and just talk about a couple of subjects with you tonight. Um, Both of these subjects you're familiar with. I want to talk a little bit about, the contact tracer, because I think that is an individual that you need to know about, and I think it's also important that you know the role and responsibilities of a contact tracer, exactly what they're going to be doing. And for you, you might say, well, who in the heck and what the hell is a contact tracer DFG? Well, these are the individuals that were identified in the Trace Act, or Bill HR 6666. Individuals, thousands of individuals that they're going to train, and they're going to place them strategically around the country in communities. And these individuals are going to be individuals who are going to be reporting to the CDC, under the supervision of the the Secretary of Human and Health Research, Health and Human Services. Struggle to get that out. These are the individuals who are going to be working under that particular branch of government, along with the military, to ensure that you're either quarantined, that you're separate, or you're quarantined, that forced separation is in play, and ultimately to ensure any resistance will be dealt with, using Donald Trump's term, with warp speed. Again, any resistance that they confront due to what they want to implement, and they're going to implement, will be dealt with warped speed. In other words, I guess the easiest way to say it, they're not going to take any crap from anybody. So if you try to resist, it's a good possibility they will use extreme malice, to interrupt your resistance. And I know we see all of these groups and these protesters and these organizations all over the country, going to the White House and doing their little thing. But it's easy to be brave when nobody's shooting at you. It's easy to be brave, when there's no blood in the streets. It's easy to be brave when there's no fire falling from the skies. It's easy to be brave in times of peace, but in times of war, that's when the real brave men and women step up. And also, you know what else? That's when the real cowards show themselves. And I suspect that many of these people that are out there today, they're just, the little, flag wavers and, whatever, the rabble rousers, who will stand out there and shoot 3 times and run home. But the real, true, so-called freedom fighters, liberators, men and women, warriors of Yah, they're not interested in going to join a group of protesters, on some government steps. They're individuals who are already prepared, already prepped, already have a plan of action, strategically thinking what they're going to do in this time of peril when it comes. As the scripture says in 2 Timothy chapter 4, in the last days perilous times shall come. You can read that when you get a chance. And it goes on to tell you about the wickedness that's going to be on the earth at that time. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about HR 6666 and the contact tracers. I want to also talk a little bit about Breonna Taylor, and also again about Ahmaud Arbery, because I think it's important, because there's a context that I need to there's a compare contrast, there I go with that word again, that I need to tie into what our book. Our history book told us that this would happen to them. Our history book has said clearly that this day would come for those individuals, and not only those individuals. And I want to share that with you, so that as these things fulfill themselves, as prophecy is being fulfilled before your eyes, that you are not dismayed, that quite frankly, that you become even more emboldened to be more courageous, more resistance, more determined, to not allow yourself to be pulled in, through fear and intimidation, to something that will destroy the very essence of who you are. And what I mean by that, it will destroy your soul. And you don't want to do that. We talked about the fundamental vaccination, you follow me, that they're going to give to many people to stop resistance. Don't resist. We'll work with anybody as long as you don't resist. I heard someone say that in corporate America one time. They were pushing all these ridiculous policies on the people and creating an environment where people were almost being asked to, to become really indentured servants, if not, damn slaves. You follow me? And they said, well, you know what? We'll work with anybody, as we make these changes, necessary changes in our organization, except for those who, resist. And this is what we're talking about right here, the importance of resisting. Understanding that if you don't resist, according to what we're told by our forefathers, the consequences will be deadly to you. Much and far worse, much more and far more worse than anything that man can do to you. Because you're going to be judged by Yah. You're going to be condemned by Yah if you conform, if you don't resist. But we need to look at that. So we're going to talk about all three of those components, okay? So bear with me. We'll get through this fast. But this is for information, guys. This is so that we're informed, so that, again, that we can understand what is to come. And equally important, where is Yah in all of this? All right? Where is Yah in this? And I will tell you, Yah is in all of it, every bit of it. Even as these wicked men attempt to do their wickedness, all evil men have committed their wickedness against us, Yah is still in it. Not causing it, he's in it. All right? So let's start off with the contact tracers. These are individuals that are going to be trained. I think it's John Hopkins, I want to say school. It's going to be online courses that they're going to teach them all kind of psychology, how to manipulate people, how to influence people to get people to do what they want them to do, how to be be disciplined when they're sharing their information, how to be able to track and trace individuals. They're going to school them really, really well. In essence, those who are selected are going to be the elite people who are able to perform such dastardly deeds. And I said that right. These are going to be the elite people who are able to perform such dastardly deeds, because these people are going to be counted upon to betray their own family members, their own neighbors, their own friends, their own communities, their own social economic groups, as well as their own ethnic groups. In other words, they're going to probably be the first to get the vaccine, and I can assure you, whatever's in there, MK Ultra will play its part in there as well. They're going to be very robotic, very unsensitive, very maniac in pursuit of getting this information to pass on to the authorities to ensure that you and I stay under siege. Okay? And I say you and I because we already heard Jerome Adams, right? That idiot, dog-headed, pig-footed, fool, get before the whole nation and say that people of color, black people, so-called black people, and Latinos are the primary, carriers of this disease, even if they show no symptoms. So he's already, put a target on us, as they call the targeted group. He's already, zeroed in on us. So we know this is going to start at our doorsteps first and then move out, I'm sure, into the rural areas, wherever the poorest of poor Americans who they don't want to see reproduce. In other words, have children. What they would call the useless eaters or the useless idiots. It'll get to them second. But it's going to come to the Hebrew Israelite first. And I just told you, you know who you are. If you don't know who you are by now, then please start listening and studying, okay? It's you, so-called Latinos and African Americans, okay? You're the Hebrew Israelites. You're the people of the Bible. You wonder, where's my history? Your history is not with Ponce de Leon. Your history is not tied into Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman. Your history is tied in with Yah, the word of Yah, from Adam to John in exile. That's where your history is. In other words, from Genesis to Revelations or Jasher to Revelations. That's your history. And everything that you're doing right now will also be filled in the gaps. My people, my brothers, my sisters. Okay? But let's get into this. Here's what the contact tracers will be trained to do. All right? No, first of all, they're going to be anonymous. Nobody's going to know who they are. Now, that's interesting in and of itself. You know, they're going to, again, like the brown suits in Nazi Germany. You follow me? You know, but the people who are supporting or helping the brown suits in Nazi Germany. So nobody's going to know who they are. Now, that tells you that this is dastardly and within itself and wicked. Because if it's such an honor and integrity program and a righteous program, all they want to do is make sure we don't get sick and we be healthy, then why are you hiding the people who are going to be ratting on everybody? Why do they have to be anonymous? I mean, isn't that a question we all should be asking? Why? So these people can lie on you, lie on your friends, lie on your neighbors, and you don't know who the hell they are. When the scriptures say people that individuals of the same house will turn against each other. Your enemy will be those of your own household. Now you see how that can happen. So they're going to be, anonymous. All right. Secondly, they will tell on anyone who they believe has the virus, as well as anyone, as well as anyone they were in contact with. So let's just say if you went out to a restaurant somewhere, these social distancing restaurants. So I'm telling you guys, a lot of you guys are playing along with this. Somewhere deep in your heart, I know there's got to be something you saying. I'm talking about you are not sheeple. Okay, I'm not talking about the scripture. I'm not talking about the group that Yeshua said that broad is the path, wide is the gate that leads to destruction. I'm not talking about those who are headed to destruction. They're sheep. Their destiny has already been foretold. They're gonna be destroyed. I'm not talking about that group. I'm talking about you, some of you guys who are letting that group influence you. Because you don't really have a real conviction. You're just accustomed to getting along, to going along and getting along. You don't want to miss a meal. That's a lot of your problems. You follow me? Because at the end of the day, if everybody took theirs off, you would take yours off too. But you're doing it because they're doing it. You follow me? And that particular group, who I'm talking to, you need to ask yourself the question, how far are you going to follow these people down a rabbit hole before it's too late for you? Because now they're saying, okay, you got to wear the mask. You got to be, social distancing. Next, you're going to have to be vaccinated. And these contact tracers, even if you're not sick, and I told you about my friend yesterday, asymptomatic, but they didn't care. They're still treating him as though he has the virus. And so anywhere you go, anybody who's around you, wherever you go, these people are going to report on, not only on you, but they're going to report on all of these people too. So they're going to force you into isolation. They're going to make you afraid to go around anybody. My friend who's been told he's asymptomatic, even though he isn't, if he goes around his mother right now, his daughters right now, he's going to put all the people at risk sooner than later. If he goes, anybody, his brothers, his sisters, his nieces, his nephews, this is a good man, and a man of high integrity, a man that I trust with my own life. This man, in a few short months, is going to put his whole family at risk because some contact tracer is going to say, hey, by the way, he was with these people or he went over there. Oh, and by the way, if his home does not accommodate his daughters, I'm talking about the number of bathrooms that he needs to have in his home, they're going to take them from him. And that's going to happen, not just him, that's going to happen to all of us who are part of this foolishness, who are afraid to stand up and stand against this wickedness. Because it is wickedness. This stuff, I'm telling you guys, this so-called virus is killing less than, I think it's like 0.1% of the people who had the virus. I'm not talking about people, who died. I'm talking who had the virus. Not this is the part of the population that got the virus. This is the population that died that had the virus. It's less than 1%. And most of those who were pronounced that most of the pronounced deaths from the virus were people who died from other causes. And I shared an example with you on yesterday, and I'll share it again. If I've got cirrhosis of the liver, and I've been told by my doctor 3 years ago, if I don't quit drinking, I'm going to die from liver cancer, right? From liver failure. And I keep drinking, and then tomorrow I drop dead because my liver stopped working. They're going to come and pick me up and throw me in a body bag, take me to the coroner's office. He's going to do, the medical examiner is going to do an autopsy on me, and you know what he's going to say? He died from the coronavirus. That's how ridiculous these numbers are. And yet everybody's walking around here fearful and afraid that somebody's going to give them the coronavirus and they're going to die. When these people are dying of natural causes, things that would have killed them in many cases because they just were not healthy. But you got healthy people running around here attacking other healthy people because you're going to spread the virus because you are not covering up your face to damage your respiratory system. So when this real outbreak happens in the fall and winter next year, those numbers are going to skyrocket up because most of you are going to be sick because you've been damaging, breathing in all those toxins because you've had your face covered up for months and months and months now. Most of you are already lightheaded and you can't think clearly. You're fuzzy-minded and you know it. If anybody put their hand around you, around your mouth for a long period of time, or cover up your mouth alone and then release it, you know how you get dizzy because your air, your oxygen is not reaching your brain? Well, what they're doing is, but it's on your face, it's just happening slow. So slow you don't even know it's happening. It reminds me how they say when they were doing these science experiments on frogs. And what they would do is that they would put a frog in a pot of water. And then what they would do is they would turn the heat up on the water, but they would turn the heat up so marginally, so bit by bit, that the frog would just literally stay in that water till he literally burrowed to death. Never try to escape. And that's what this respiratory thing is. This is what's going to happen to your respiratory system if you're blocking up your air paths and this toxin is going back into your body, or some of that toxin from the carbon monoxide. That's what it's going to do to your respiratory system. And nobody's talking about that. And just like that frog, it's going to be a slow death. And you're not even going to know what you're doing until it's far too late. You're going to feel healthy, and then all of a sudden, you're going to catch a common cold, common flu, and guess what? You'll be CV-19 death certificate. And they'll say, see, we told you. And you don't realize that they created the whole situation. What they call it, the Hegelian dialect. Create the problem, then come up with the reaction, and all to formulate a solution. And what is the solution? Population control and getting rid of the Hebrew. I said it just like that. Population control and getting rid of the Hebrew, the so-called black man and Latino, man and woman. That's always been their objective. But they can't get rid of us because Yahweh always kept a remnant of us here. But the day is soon to come that as the scripture says, it's going to get a hell of a lot worse for us than we ever, especially us in this last generation, because we have become far too comfortable. We have lived off of the heathen's luxuries and pleasures and excesses, and now we think just like the heathen think, most of us. And if you take away our little toys, our leisures, our luxuries, we do the same thing. We're ready to go kill ourselves too, or kill each other to get them. And we see that all the time in these streets behind drugs and, and tennis shoes and, and that kind of foolish things that we kill each other to get or to take. This is the truth. And somebody needs to tell us this. So Yahweh's using me to say it. Hopefully he's going to use you if you go out and spread the word. All right? Of what I'm talking about. So yes, you are targeted. And Jerome Adams targeted us by making us the central focus of the coronavirus a month ago. And no one protested, no one outcried. We all just kind of like the little frog in the water. We just kind of suffered peacefully. Malcolm X used that thing, used an example when he was talking about how we as a people have learned to suffer peacefully. In other words, we don't say anything when we should say something, and when we should be quiet, we run our damn mouths like a bunch of little schoolgirls and boys. But he said, it's like, he said, what we do is that we accept, oppression, like a dental patient when he's about to get when he or she is about to get a tooth pulled, and they shoot him up with Novocaine, and that Novocaine numbs them. And while they're extracting that tooth, they're like, "What is? I thought they said it was gonna hurt. I thought they said a root canal hurt. It don't hurt. I don't even feel nothing." But when that Novocaine wears off, oh boy, feel like their head is 3 times the size that it is, and their face is about to crack into a billion pieces. So that's what's going to happen for you all who want to conform and think that somehow or another this is just going to pass by, that it's going to come back to some sense of normalcy. This is an agenda. These people they stopped the whole global economy all at the same time behind BS. The Italian prime minister is hooping and hollering all over the place about how they ruined their economy with lies about how many people died from corona. The Spanish, they're talking about in Spain, not the Spanish speaking. I'm talking about in Spain. There at their parliament was hollering and complaining and saying that Bill Gates needs to be tried as a war criminal and put to death for what he did to their country and their economy. Because they know it's bullshit too. The question is, why don't you know it's bullshit? Because you're a conformist, you're a sheep being led to the slaughter. And they're doing it real slow, again, like the frog in the boiling pot. Bit by bit. First they're going to get you to social distance. Then they're going to put the mask on your face. Then they tell you can't go nowhere and shop unless you got the mask on your face. Then they're going to tell you, well, you got to get vaccinated. And then they're going to tell you, if you don't get vaccinated, you can't come outside. And then they're going to say, well, if you do get vaccinated and somebody in your house is ill, we got to take them out your house and we're going to bring your children somewhere in some camp somewhere where you may never see them again, or where they're sexually molested, sex traded, who knows what the hell is going to happen to them. And then that's when that Novocaine is going to wear off of your stupid ass, and then you're going to get serious and it's going to be too late. Now how about that for some truth? How about that for some truth? And I'm not angry. I'm just raising my voice, crying aloud and sparing not, as the Most High Yah said we're supposed to do, especially the men, the lions of Judah. You're not a pussycat. It's not time for meowing. It's time for roaring. He gave us these deep, strong voices for a reason, guys. Let me get on, okay? Wow, time just flies. I'm going to have to get fast here. I'm going to read through the rest of this, guys. Try not to give a whole lot of dialogue because I really want to get this done in under 30 minutes, 35 minutes, okay? Here we go. And we're at minute 22 right now. He said they will tell on anyone who they believe has the virus, as well as anyone who they were in contact with. Those chosen will be programmed to follow orders without question. You heard me talk about MK Ultra. So whatever training they're going to go to, whoever the people they're going to select people with the mentality to do what the hell they were told and have no emotions about it whatsoever. Just like they train, Navy SEALs, and other, deadly forces that go around and kill, people all over the country, all over other countries. They have no conscience, snipers included. They're going to find those kind of people to do their dastardly deeds. Then they will monitor restaurants and other family gatherings. And by the way, I took this off of a website, and the website I took it from was called governmentjob.com, Washington State's Department of State and Children and Youth website. And it tells you that the children will be pulled away and held against their will, in warehouses, FEMA camps, churches, etc. That's why I told you these mega churches, guys, if you're not in there, you ought not go back. These so-called evangelists or mega preachers, these people have sold you guys out a long time ago by not telling you these things were to come. And these things were written in the book. And they were supposed to be the experts. They were supposed to have doctrines in this stuff. And why didn't they tell you this stuff? I'm reading from the book of Yah. These are supposed to be the men and women of Yah who's supposed to be teaching you the word. And they didn't tell you these things. Why do you think they didn't tell you these things? Because they're wolves in sheep's clothing. They were a part of it. They've always been a part of it. That's why they 501c, tax-free, non-profit, government-funded organizations. They're the third arm of the government, religion. And most of you guys won't come out of it. You refuse to come out of it because you're in a form of hypnosis. You're mesmerized And you're so lonely, so desperate to be a part of something that you've been led like a sheep to the slaughter by these wolves. Now I'm just telling you the truth. You don't have to believe me. Keep on doing it. You'll find out in time. You'll find out. Excuse me 1 second. Funny, whenever we get into the word, we're going to get a little interruption here. But that's okay. Got a backup plan. And I just instituted it. So we're going to finish this video. Let me get on. They will monitor restaurants and other family gatherings and outings. People will be forced into other facilities. You just heard me say that. The question I have is, what will they do with our children at these quarantine centers without their parents to watch over them? We already know what's going to happen. The same that has happened now with the Clinton Foundation and all of these, and the Children of Calcutta and all these, what they call these things, Red Cross children and UNICEF children. These children from all these third world countries are child trafficked all over the world. And guess who else was a part of it? I just found out recently. Oh, the dear sweet Saint old Apostolus, Apocryphus, you know what I'm saying? Mother Teresa was a part of it too. Oh, I know you don't believe me. Oh, no, not Mother Teresa. Go research it. The Children of Calcutta. She was selling these children into child slavery, children trafficking, and she didn't give a damn where these children ended up at. I'm sure she probably pleaded the fifth. Well, I'm just putting them into better places. It's not up to me what happened to them when they get there. I'll be damned. If you put him on the bus, then you're responsible for where he ends up. If he didn't voluntarily get on that bus and could not resist getting on that bus and had no say in where he was going, I'll be damned if blood is not on your hands, Mother Teresa. But that's what's going to happen to these children without supervision, without people who love them and care for them to watch over them, like only a mother and a father could. Okay? But that's just an overview of the tracer, the contact tracer job. And so if you know anybody who takes that job, you need to treat them jokers like they've got the plague. They need to be they need to be cut off. I'm serious. You ought to be like, you traitor, you cowardly traitor. You're going to work for the government to destroy a whole community of people behind bullshit. Excuse the strength of what I'm saying, my language. I don't mean to be vulgar. I mean to get the point across. And I think I am. Now let's bring this thing on home. Got about 5 minutes. Go to the book of the Gospel of John, chapter 15. And this is what I'm going to read to you. And this is to my Hebrew brothers and sisters. This is what Yah is saying to us. Why was Ahmaud Arbery killed? Why was Breonna Taylor killed? And many, many others. We can go through all of these names. You're going to find out. I told you that we're in here. Now watch this. He said, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. That's done at 15 verse 12. Greater love has no man had than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for a servant knows not what his master does. But I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. Jesus is not God, for the record. He just told you, here, this is Yeshua talking. I shouldn't have said Jesus, but for some of you guys, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeshua is referencing the Father right here to the disciples. So, and if he is, he's confusing the hell out of them. And the Most High is not the author of confusion. I digress. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knows not what his master does. But I've called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. See, we were chosen by the Most High. We didn't choose him. He chose us. We are the elect. We are the chosen people. You had nothing to do with what these Hebrew Israelite camps are talking all this crazy enough about who does this and what sacrifice you do and what you need to wear. Those are idiots. Those are idiots. The truth is, it doesn't matter what you wear, what days you observe in terms of, the ordinances that they were doing for the sacrificial things that the Most High asked our ancestors to do. I told you, put the laws in our hearts now. All right, but we are the chosen people. He said, I chose you. You didn't choose me. So ain't nothing, you shouldn't even brag. It's nothing for us to brag of. It's something for us to be proud of. See, you're not chosen me, but I've chosen you and ordained you. What does ordain mean? Just have you speak and live and stand up for me, like I've been telling you for the last 30 minutes. That you go forward and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain. That whatever you ask of the Father in my name, He may give it to you. These things I command you, that you love one another. And if the world hate you, here we go. If the world hate you, and who does the world hate other than the Hebrew Israelites? The whole world hates us, and wherever we go, they hate the so-called Negro, so-called African American. These things I command you, that you love one another. But if the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. And if you were of the world would love its own. But because you are not of the world, because I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Now remember what I said. Now, do you need any more evidence than that? Do you need any more evidence than that? Do you need any more validation than what I just read to you? That's why they're willing to shoot our young men jogging down the street and shoot naked women in the house, in their own homes, who had nothing to do with any kind of crimes. Because they're filthy pigs. And we're grateful that we're not like them. Vicious devils, dogs, heartless. And we're not like them. And some of us act like them because we have derision of our minds. We've lost our minds. You better come out of that fog before it's too late, or you're going to be damned with them. At least those who are that wicked. That's most of them, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately, who gives a shit? They are who they are. And we are who we are. We're the chosen of Yah. Stand up and act like it, guys. Time is short. We're out of time. We got one less fight to stand. And if you take that vaccination, you have given in. And it's the end for you. And you're going to get your portion. Read Revelation 17 if you want to know what's going to happen to you if you take that mark, that vaccination. I advise you don't take it. I ain't taking it. You say, well, how are you not going to take it? I will resist. How are you going to resist? With extreme malice. What that means, I will have guns and anything else I need to do to resist anybody trying to force me to do it. And yes, I'll give my life up, just like my father and my forefathers gave their life up for truth. Life up for truth. I'll do it too. What about you? Bye now.